Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, June 16th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Akron game in 75 days, the game against Michigan in 166 days. With it being June 16th, we are officially now in late June. Just trust me on this. We're going to round up. June 16th basically rounds up to June 30th, which is basically July, which is Conference Media Days time, and then fall camp time, and then the season's almost here. So with the season being almost here, felt like a good time to run through this year's college football playoff format. 12 teams this year, not just 4, and a very different schedule, very different format, and some very different rules this year that I think maybe have not gotten as much attention as they deserve, and some stuff that I think in about 3 or 4 months, the people who are not real college football sickos are going to go, wait, they're doing it what? What? Why would that team get the bye? What? That doesn't make any sense. Well, you're going to have a little bit of a head start on all of that. We're going to run through the predictions from one of the major national outlets, and we'll put those in, plug those into the college football playoff schedule, and run through what that might look like. So we're going to be doing that with our buddy Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Tony, this is the time of year. It is college football magazine season. We've gotten we did a show on the first one on Buckeye Weekly a couple weeks ago. You just got an advanced digital copy of another one. It is the most wonderful time of the year.
Merry Steelmas, everybody. Yes. The Phil Steele digital magazine out to the VIP purchasers, and just coming off the printing press late last week, and should be out to check your mailboxes this week again for your Phil Steele magazine. But yes, always something you look forward to every year. It is here, and then you just pour through it, and whether you disagree or you don't, it's just nice to have in your hands again. Even in the tablet version that I have now.
Yeah, it is always a welcome sign that the season is just getting a little bit closer. This year's rankings, you were running through them with me, and I went, "Oh boy, that's not how I would necessarily have it." But we're going to use Phil's rankings for the teams, how he's got them stacked up in his power poll.
This is how he expects things to go.
Sorry, how he expects things to go. Yes, sorry. So how he's expecting things to go. We'll see how the college football playoff committee adjusts things, tweaks things to, we've got some rematches going here. I'm not sure this is exactly how it'll look when all is said and done, but this is just going to be for illustrative purposes only, we're going to run through here. So here's the rankings that he has. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Texas. Number 5, Penn State. Number 6, Notre Dame. Number 7, Alabama. Number 8, Utah. Number 9, Michigan. Number 10, Miami. Number 11, Iowa. Yes, Iowa. And then Boise State is the top non-power conference team in his ranking. So now here's, there's probably some things in there that you might arch an eyebrow at, but nothing crazy. However, here's where I wanted to kind of get into some of the details on this, because I don't know that people have really thought through the fact that it's the top 4 conference champions, not necessarily power conference champions. Theoretically, Boise State could get a top 4 bid, but the top 4 conference champions get the top 4 seeds in the tournament, in the college football playoff this year. They get a first round bye. So when you reseed things based off of those rankings, you get number 1, Georgia. Sure. Number 2, Ohio State. Okay. Number 3, wait for it, Big 12 champion Utah. Okay. Number 4, ACC champion Miami. Tony, the phrase ACC champion Miami, jarring enough. Number 4 seed, even more surprising there. But yes, Utah and Miami would then be seeded ahead of number 5 seed Oregon, number 6 seed Texas, number 7 seed Penn State, number 8 seed Notre Dame, number 9 seed Alabama, number 10 seed Michigan, number 11 seed Iowa, number 12 Boise State. Tony, which one to you is more visually jarring? 5 Big Ten teams in the top 11, or number 3 Utah and number 4 Miami having first round byes?
Yeah, I mean, all of that, because when you figure in Miami in these rankings are 10, and yet in the CFP they're going to be 4. I think that's one of the things that people have not yet figured. Like, they'll just be, maybe the top 5 teams will be where the conference champions come from, and it's like, yeah, with the lack of distance between what is what are the best teams in the ACC and what are the really good teams in the ACC, and then same with the Big 12. Like, I think there's just a lot of congestion in there. So there's going to be maybe 3-loss teams winning a conference championship, and they're going to be jumping everybody and going almost to the front of the line. And then, say Oregon or Ohio State, their only loss is to each other, to the other team. And that team, whoever loses, is going to fall back behind, say, a 3-loss Miami. Do you think, Tom, Ohio State fans are going to take that well? Sure, they'll get a home game in the playoffs, but to see the 10-3 Miami Hurricanes, or even better, the 9-4 Miami Hurricanes going to the front of the line and getting that 4 seed, and Ohio State dropping back at being perhaps the 5 seed. Do you think that would be taken in stride?
I think it will go over extremely well with whoever is the 5 seed, because again, I think there are a lot of people who are going to figure this out in about late November and then go, what? Why would you do it that way? That's incredibly stupid. Don't worry, we're already way ahead of you. This is incredibly stupid. I do think there is going to be a surprising benefit. Yes, you have to play an extra game, but a surprising benefit to being the 5 seed, where you're going to play a non-power team in the first round at home. And generally just the non-power teams have just not had the depth to stay with the high-level Power 5 teams. So you're probably favored by 17, 20 points, something like that, in that first game against like a Boise State at home. And then your second game is against Miami at a neutral site. That feels like you're going to get to, if you're the 5 seed, you are very, very likely to get to the semifinals of the college football playoff, every bit as much so as if you are the 2 seed or the 1 seed. The first game, you are very, very likely to win. Sure, you want to buy, but that's a very winnable first game. It's a very winnable second game, and then you go from there. So just as a reminder, just since we're all trying to figure this out together, first round games, so this is going to be seeds 5 through 12. They play the first round games on campus. Friday, December 20th, there's going to be 1 game in the evening. Saturday, December 21st, there's going to be 3 games from the early afternoon, late afternoon, and then evening time slots. The first and last games are going to be on ESPN. The second and third games are going to be on TNT or TBS. I don't remember which one, but those are going to be, I think it's TNT because I believe they know drama. That is going to be the games. In this scenario would be Boise State at Oregon, Iowa at Notre Dame, Michigan at Penn State, and Alabama at, nope, I just have Notre Dame in there twice. That can't be right. So that would be Iowa at Texas. Iowa at Texas. So that's where that would happen. We can project where these games would probably slide. I'm going to guess the Boise State at Oregon game would be the Friday night game. And then Michigan, Penn State at noon, Bama, Notre Dame at 3:30, and Iowa at Texas in prime time, probably, but we'll see. And this is one, Tony, where I doubt that you're going to have Boise State at Oregon would be a regular season rematch. Michigan and Penn State don't play in the regular season, so it's not a rematch. But you're probably going to try to avoid conference versus conference kind of games. Although with 5 Big Ten teams in here, it'd be pretty hard to do.
Well, yeah, if you've got that many in there, and I've seen other projections with 5 SEC teams, and you can only keep them away from each other for so long. But you would think they would try to not have conference matchups in the first round. They're going to tell you that we don't look at conferences when we rank these teams, because that's what the committee always says. We don't look at conferences. We only look at the individual teams, and then we rank those teams. But I do find it a little sad that you've already put a Michigan at Penn State in the playoffs at noon, so that they cannot get a whiteout. Tom, are you secretly working for Fox by any chance? Are you Fox homer? You think every big game at Penn State needs to be played at noon? You make me sick. Put the Texas game at noon. They're used to playing their biggest game at noon every year against Oklahoma. Like, they're used to that. Put it at 11 o'clock local. Let Penn State fans, please, can they not have a whiteout for once?
I have to tell you, I think that the Iowa Texas game, just time zone wise, would make sense in prime time. The more I think about it, they're probably not putting that at noon. It probably is Michigan Penn State at noon, Iowa Texas at 3:30, and then Bama at Notre Dame. You want the Alabama eyeballs, you want the Notre Dame eyeballs. That's your primetime game. I can't even believe I hadn't thought this through before I said it the last time. That's absolutely your primetime game. So that's December 20th and 21st. So that's your first round games. Those are on campus sites. So at Oregon, at Texas, at Penn State, at Notre Dame. In this example, you were, Tony, if there's only one SEC team playing a home game that first round, I would be pretty surprised. I was going to say something about eating my hat or walking somewhere, but I've seen that go poorly for people, so I will just say I would be pretty surprised if that happened. Now on to the quarterfinals. This is December 31st and January 1st. December 31st, the first quarterfinal, it's just like the first round. There's one game on the night before and then 3 games on the afternoon or during the day on the following day. So December 31st, Fiesta Bowl in the evening. So yes, you will have a New Year's Eve watching the college football playoff yet again. And then January 1st, New Year's Day, Peach Bowl in the early afternoon, Rose Bowl late afternoon, Sugar Bowl in the evening. I don't think they've announced there's not conference tie-ins with these bowls anymore. They have not really said, are they going to try and maintain some of those historical tie-ins? I would assume, Tony, that, Fiesta Bowl, if your teams that are kind of the ones who they know that these 4 teams are going to be in the playoff. They know they're going to be in these games. Georgia, Ohio State, Utah, Miami. Fiesta Bowl, that feels like that's the Utah game. You put Utah against the winner of Iowa, Texas, so probably Utah, Texas in the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, I probably don't need to tell you who is probably going to get to play about an hour from their home campus. Why, it's the Georgia Bulldogs. Look at that. Wait till we get 2 games in the future and get to see where Georgia gets to play. Georgia versus the winner of Alabama, Notre Dame in the Peach Bowl in the early afternoon. Rose Bowl game late afternoon. This is where it's interesting to me because Ohio State geographically might prefer to play in the Sugar Bowl, and the TV network might prefer to have Ohio State in prime time, maybe, but you've also the Rose Bowl, the tradition there. Ohio State, you could potentially, Tony, in this scenario, have an Ohio State Michigan Rose Bowl or an Ohio State Penn State Rose Bowl. I'm not expecting that to be how it lines up, but boy, would Ohio State Michigan in the Rose Bowl would be one of the weirdest. Like, this is deeply college football traditional and also so extremely weird. I don't know how people would handle it.
Well, and as I've said about this potential matchup before, do it like they do it with USC and UCLA, both home jerseys in the Rose Bowl. That has to be the way that you have it, and go from there. But when we talk about the committee trying to steer conference teams away, like, do they want Michigan and Penn State playing in that first round? I also wonder how quickly, like, the sooner that, say, Ohio State and Michigan can play in the playoffs, the better, and the more likely it is to happen. Like, if you're trying to, well, we'll just wait to try to steer it so that they can meet in the finals. It's like, well, there's a lot that could happen between that, now and then. If you have it in the, the second round or third round or whatever, there's a better chance of it happening. So I do wonder if there's not manipulation, but, being okay with it happening that early or earlier rather than trying to save it for the Final Four, the final game. But Michigan, Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, that there's so much college football. I don't know if you can consume too much college football and get the college football diabetes, but if you could, that is what, you'd go to the doctor and they'd be like, were you at the Rose Bowl watching Ohio State and Michigan because you have college football diabetes? And you're like, was I not supposed to do that? Did I have too much college football?
Was that too much? We just talked about eating 40 donuts in a sitting on a previous show. That feels like the college football version of eating 40 donuts. And, the other piece of this is Georgia in the Peach Bowl early afternoon. A TV network is going to go nuts with Georgia versus Notre Dame or Georgia versus Alabama being a noon kick, 1:00 kick on New Year's Day. That is a huge audience magnet, but there's no way they're not having Georgia play in the Peach Bowl unless they put them in the Sugar Bowl. They could conceivably, I guess, put them in the Sugar Bowl, maintain that traditional SEC tie-in. But so you've got however they sort this out, I'm going to guess Utah and the Texas-Iowa winner in the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve, Georgia versus Notre Dame or Bama winner in the Peach Bowl early New Year's afternoon, Ohio State versus the Michigan-Penn State winner in the early evening or in the late afternoon, and then the Sugar Bowl being Miami versus the Boise State-Oregon winner in the evening of New Year's Day. And then you get the semifinals, and the semifinals is, let's just say Georgia versus Oregon, because I think that's probably the reality of the situation, and Ohio State versus probably the Notre Dame Alabama winner, probably, if you're assuming that Utah and Miami both lose. Georgia. So, and that would be on the Thursday, January 9th in the Orange Bowl, and Friday, January 10th in the Cotton Bowl. These are back-to-back days. I'm going to once again guess, Tony, Georgia will get the Orange Bowl game. They just played in the Orange Bowl last year. It's closer to home as the top seed. If anyone gets a choice, they would get the choice. It would also give them an extra day to prepare for the national championship game, which I'm sure they would probably prefer. Friday, January 10th, Cotton Bowl. So we would have both potentially Georgia and Ohio State going back to the bowl games they played in last year. Friday, January 10th, that night, you'd have Ohio State versus Utah or Notre Dame or Utah or probably Texas, I'm going to guess. So, yeah, let's say Ohio State, Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and Georgia,
Sheesh.
Oregon in the Orange Bowl. Not the friendliest route to the final for Ohio State potentially there. But then, Tony, it gets worse for Ohio State there. Monday, January 20th, national championship game. The two top projected teams, Ohio State, Georgia. Tony, you'll never guess where they're playing the national championship this year.
It's Atlanta, Tom. Am I right?
It is Atlanta, yes. Georgia could potentially have a road to the college football playoff that is Atlanta, Miami, Atlanta, or Atlanta, New Orleans, Atlanta, where Ohio State could have to go potentially Pasadena, Texas against a Texas team potentially, and then Georgia against a Georgia team. That's, you got to win. You got to win the games. It doesn't matter. Teams win on the road all the time, but that is potentially a rough pathway there. I had not looked at that until just now. It's like, oh boy, that is not the friendliest schedule.
No, and it kind of furthers my thought that, people are talking about this as natty or bust for Ohio State, and this is people outside of Ohio State's realm. Like the national people are saying, if they don't win it this year, it's never going to happen. And meanwhile, they're in every ranking, they're like number 2. Georgia is the favorite at number 1. And you don't even factor in like you're supposed to win it all by beating Texas in the Cotton Bowl and beating Georgia in Georgia. Like these are very difficult things to do. They don't just happen. And so, Ohio State is not the shoe-in that people are saying they should be, even though they're not putting them number 1 when they put their own rankings out. But yeah, if you get Texas, that is a huge place, Jerry World, and Ohio State fans travel. They travel like crazy. That is going to be a very, very difficult ticket for Buckeye fans, and the allotment that Ohio State gets will go immediately. And Texas fans are going to, Tom, as we know, everybody in Texas has oil money. And so they're going to use that oil money to get tickets and probably hold on to those tickets.
I think that's Texas A&M. Everyone has oil money. Texas is, everyone has, I don't know, insurance money or banking money or something like that. But yes, either way, yeah, you're looking at, if the expectation for people is Ohio State's going to go 16-0, they would have to win at Oregon, at Penn State, home against Michigan, against probably Oregon again at a neutral site in Indy, maybe, and then beat, in this case, Michigan or Penn State in a neutral site at the Rose Bowl, then beat Texas in Texas, then beat Georgia in Georgia. That's when I say, Tony, don't ever predict a team to go undefeated in any given season. This is what I'm talking about. There's that would be a lot, but someone's going to do it this year. We will see. But yeah, that is, just wanted to run through that for you with just some real names and real numbers in there, just to kind of give you a sense for what to expect this year. I may do this again with another set of rankings, because I think you may end up with some more interesting first round matchups if you've got a few more teams from different conferences and you don't have the rematches and all that kind of stuff. We will, don't worry, we got plenty more shows between now and the start of the season to run through all of this stuff. But wanted to just do that little exercise. I think there was a lot to learn there in terms of how this is all going to work, what this is going to look like, and how much travel everyone might get to do in the months of December and January. I can't wait personally. It is going to be a lot of fun to see some of these matchups and see some of these teams that haven't played in a long time or haven't played on campus sites. That is going to be really fantastic. Really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to the start of the season. Really looking forward to seeing you guys at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That's where Tony, Kevin, and I cover the team. Mark covers recruiting. We've got our whole team of X's and O's gurus making you a smarter football fan, plus a really fun and active community on the Huddle Board presented by Jeff Ruby Steakhouse. That's all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We hope to see you there. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.